Hey guys, this is Shane and welcome to my Curator of the Lost channel. Today we're talking about buying and selling magazines with some magazine purchases I just found and I'm getting ready to list on eBay for resale. So hey, before I jump in, I want to say thank you. Thanks for the channel views, for subscribing, the comments. You guys keep watching, doing all that stuff. I'll keep making these and we'll see what happens. And I do appreciate when you do the likes or comments because it does feed that YouTube algorithm and helps the channel grow. So anyway, let's jump in. I've done several videos over the years of magazines. I enjoy selling magazines, and partly because they're profitable, but if you buy the right ones, but also because they can be unique and weird and different, and they're so varied, and you get these real niche kind of topics that are in magazines that can be long run magazines or single, one or two copies of them. It's crazy. So, what also amazes me, what I'm about to show you is I hadn't found any magazines in a minute, but the last couple of trips out, all I found is magazines. So I've got 5 or 6 stacks here that, or lots, it's just to show you kind of what I found, what I'm going to price them, and give you some insight to why I bought them and how I'm going to do the pricing. So the first thing I'll show is I got 3 different sets of train magazines. Okay, now railroad transportation type stuff is hot. It's usually anytime I see something that's got dealing with trains, I always look at it. Just because it's a train subject doesn't mean it's going to be a good seller, but if it's train subject matter, it's always worth looking at. What caught my eye on these, they were sitting there, and I paid $3. And there's, this particular one had 8. So, I was paying it's like 40 cents, 40 cents a piece for. I like to keep my magazine purchase price. I really like to get them for like 10 for $1, like a dime a piece, a quarter a piece. If I'm paying more than 50 cents a piece, I need to make sure that they're, it's really, I'm getting return on my investment. This was $3. What caught my eye first was that they were in the binders. Okay. This is pretty cool, adds value, and it's what you might think. It's classic trains, okay? So get the glare there. What's amazing about this one is this particular, and I got 2 of these, okay? I'm trying not to knock things over. I got 2 of these, $3 each, and I'll show you the second one. It's kind of the same thing. All right. What's amazing to me about it, and I don't know if I can show you in here without knocking everything over, but I'm going to look down here. You can kind of see, this is it. You can see it's volume 20. I think that says issue 1. If you can kind of see there, this particular magazine is published quarterly, right? So the cool thing about that is when I looked at this, I saw, oh, there's only 8. There was only 8 in there. I thought it's missing 4. Well, then I looked at this information here, and I realized that it's a quarterly publication, which means I have 2 solid years, okay? So then when I look at comps on these, they're selling for about 20 bucks a year or $5 each. So I paid, $3, roughly a little less than 40 cents a piece for these, and they're selling for about $5 to $6 individually. Some issues you can see them selling for 10, but people that are lighting them up for a year, so that's 4 quarters, 4 issues for the year, they're selling them for about 20 bucks plus shipping. Well, I think that, I'm just going to leave these in the binder and sell them 2 years at a time. And I may ask, because they're in the binder, I'm going to ask at least 40. I may ask like $49 for these, and I'll see what happens. I can always come down. I can always split them and do, it's like 2020 and 2021. But these were also more current issues, which for this magazine seems to be good. So that's a big win for $3. Now, this next one I bought, it was another railroad, and it was Railroad Model Craftsman. And see, somebody had written 2009 on it. I may try to take that off. Again, it was $3. You see the sticker still on there. These aren't as good. A whole year, okay, you got Railroad. A whole year's 12 issues. They're selling for maybe $13 to $15. But what I saw is when they're in the binder, the years are selling for more like 20 to 25. So, that's one reason I went ahead and bought this one. So that's another good railroad one. All right. let's see, let's look at the next one, okay? This next one's kind of cool. The reason I picked it up was the title, Atomic Ranch. It just jumped out at me on that magazine shelf, and it turned out there were a bunch of them there in a box, right? And this is almost a continuous run from issue. I like it when it's like this, right? Issue 26 to 40, it's missing number 39. But you can see that, you know, I like it when they're like continuous runs, because that gives me the option of, again, breaking them up by year, or maybe I'll just sell all these together. What I see on these is that they're selling, individually people are paying $3 to $4. I paid 50 cents each for these, all right? They're selling $3 to $4 each. However, I see people lotting these up, and when they're lotting them up, it's like in the year, it's like $24 for the year. And I think these were also, look, see how it's winter? These are also quarterly. So you only have 4 issues in the year. So when they're lotting them up, they're selling them as a complete year. It's about $6 a piece, which that's probably how I'll sell these. But they're all this mid-century, you know, design. You know, you got some of the all the mid-century kind of architecture, furniture. But to be honest, I mean, I like mid-century stuff, some of it, but what jumped out at me, was my eye, when I saw Atomic Ranch. I'm like, what is, I've never heard of that magazine. What is that about? Atomic Ranch. Well, it's about mid-century marvels, mid-century architecture, design, art. And so I paid 50 cents each. I think I can get at least $4 each for these. I may lot them up in years and get more like that $24 for a year. Pretty decent profit. All right, let me set those there. Okay. All right, so this next lot I'm torn on. I probably will sell these because I've just got so much of this stuff, but I found, I'll just kind of, science fiction and fantasy. And I got these 3 for $1, 33 cents each. And they were from the 70s, not a complete run. So there's some from 74. Here's a couple from 1973. And you know, sci-fi is my thing. I love sci-fi. There were a few more. We can look at some of these. You can look at some of the covers. That's kind of cool. You look at the little man and the pigeon there. It's kind of cool to see the artwork. There's actually some key ones in the series that were like some early Stephen King's that published in this magazine of fantasy and science fiction, more like 1980s. There's a couple of Stephen King ones in this from the early 80s, like 1980, that'll sell for $20 or $30 each. So, yeah, that's kind of a cool one. There were more of these, but there were some of them when I bought these, but they had labels and some writing on them. So I kind of cherry picked the ones from the 70s. And I will say that, like this one here, I've got a sold comp on eBay on this one. Look at that kind of crazy cover, for like $15 for the single one. In general, these are not big dollar like Galaxies or like stuff from the 50s and 60s. I think I can sell them. You know, I think I can get a couple of bucks a piece for them. You know, lotted up. It's all over the place on these. Sometimes you'll see people doing lots of these and they're only selling for like $4. I'll look at it and see. I've got a sold comp on this particular one for like $10. So now I do like this cover. You know, if these were in the 50s and 60s, I would definitely keep them. You know, I've got almost a complete run of Galaxy science fiction magazines from the 50s, you know, through the 60s. And the 50s were, you know, definitely the golden age of the pulp. You know, you had Galaxy, If, you know, there were just tons of the, you know, great sci-fi, and the artistry in those with Ed Emshweiler and Virgil Finley and people like that doing illustrations and covers. They're amazing. So if these were in the 50s or 60s, I would definitely keep them. I'll just say that for me personally, some of the artwork in the 70s just doesn't do it for me. I mean, it's, you know, from a collectability, I just don't find it as pleasing as the artwork from the 50s and going into the 60s. So I probably will sell these. I'll decide, I may just lot them all up into like, I think there's 14 of them, 15 of them, lot them all up. It's a 1970s, try to get 25 or 30 bucks out of them. I paid 30 cents a piece for them. So I'll still make money, but they're fun to look at and enjoy the artwork. And so that was good. I'm kind of torn on them, but I do like that cover. It's pretty cool. All right. So the last ones I'll get to, I think these may end up being the biggest wins. I got a whole stack of them. And I did pay 50 cents each for these, but they are this Mary Englebright's Home Companion. Now, a couple things. I think Home Companion has been around in one form or another since like the 30s. It's an old magazine. This Mary Englebright, she's an artist. She has a particular, this kind of folky kind of, you can see, kind of this style. And she's got lots of art books, and I think she did a series, like seems like in the 90s, she had a bunch of like decorated teapots and little houses and different, knick-knack things that, so she's kind of her style, she kind of got into this commercial market. Well, I guess in the late 90s, 96, 97, they made this, however, she might have bought it, they just used her name, I don't know. But it became Mary Englebright's Home Companion. Now, what I see is these are published bi-monthly, okay? So every other month. So a year will be six of them. And I see people selling full years, 6 issues that compose a year, $20 to $25 sold on these all day long. Now, something like this, when you're buying them, you have to kind of, if you're doing your comps, you got to do a little bit of research on them sometimes or look at them. What's unique about these, or what's great about these, is all of these have, if you can see in the back, it's kind of like a cardstock, and it has paper dolls for paper doll cutouts. And so you'll see when these get listed, you say paper dolls intact, unused. And there's other magazines that are like this. There's some of the, in the past, a lot of times it gets into these crafty ones, and things that are with, they have these little add-ons. Sometimes it's stickers, sometimes it's, things like cards, punch-out mail-in things. If that's a thing with the magazine, and you don't know until you look at it and do a little research, but the value of these is really because of, it's back issues, but it's something somebody wants to collect. But it's also that the paper dolls are intact. So, I've got, I don't know, there's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, I got 24. And when I bought these, I made sure that I scanned through them, and I made sure that I had all 4 issues. If it was a partial year, I just didn't get them. So I can lot these up. I've got sold comps by the year of $20 to $24. All of them have the paper dolls. So here's another one. There's a little guy, paper doll on the cardstock. They're all there. So I'll make some decent profit on these, even though I did pay, 50 cents each, which is, hey, pricing here in Alabama, if I'm starting to pay 50 cents for a magazine or $2 for a book, I'm like, oh, that's too much. Can't do it. So, but anyway, that's where I like to be for my pricing. So that gives you some insight to what caught my eye. I like, it's kind of weird, niche-y stuff, Atomic Ranch, these home companions with paper dolls. Of course, the sci-fi stuff was easy for me. Train stuff, I look at, the subject matter first, right? If anything that's weird or niche that I haven't seen before, I'm going to look at. I like it. I always look to see if, try to look at the condition and make sure they're complete. Then think about when you're buying them, how you're going to lot them up, how you're going to sell them. Are you going to take the time and do it individually? Is that worth the effort? Or is it better to sell them by the year? Just sell them all in a big stack of everything you've got, be thinking about that when you're about to make your purchase, and as you get more experience in this, you'll get a feel for, what you're doing is you're balancing your time versus your profit, right? If you tell me that each one of these bring, $5 if I sell them individually, and I've got 20 or 24 different listings, or I can get $4 or even $3.50 out of them, selling them as one big lot, and they sell like that. Even though, you know, it might be the difference between a 7x profit and a 10x profit. If I can flip them quick and not have to deal with 20 or 24 separate listings, I'm going to put them all together. So you're balancing your profit versus your time, okay? And then always, always, always remember on magazines, see, these things have ads in them, right? They have ads. So you're not supposed to ship them media mail. So you need to be thinking about your postage. You know, weigh them. They're probably going to have to either go that ground advantage on you know, U.S. Post Office, either the ground advantage or priority mail. Make sure you put those shipping options in. You're not supposed to ship media mail, and it's going to be more expensive. So, you know, before as you do your listing, you want to make sure that you're not going to hose yourself on shipping. I also, when I do magazines, just to refresh, I've talked about this before, for thin stuff, like these, you know, that's a little over an inch, maybe inch and a half. If I could put these in one of my multi-depth mailers and it's thin, instead of like a 3-inch box, I can get that into about a 1-inch box. Then a lot of times, anytime I'm doing this, I check out Pirate Ship. And I did a video on this not too long ago, but with Pirate Ship, and anything goes cubic shipping, you kind of get that dimensional weight. And even if it's heavier, like magazines tend to be, but it's thinner, you can still, you can get a better rate with their cubic shipping rates versus like a straight priority mail or, you know, sometimes ground advantage. It just depends on the discount, right? So anyway, that's it. That's the fines. I like selling magazines, and it's something, if you're a bookseller and you're there, I guess the final piece of advice is don't forget about looking at the magazine rack or you know, where they keep magazines, because it's just like if you're there and they have media and you're looking at other media, you know, it can be some low-hanging fruit, and, you know, can amp up your sales for the same visit. So anyway, that's it. I like magazines. They're good to me. They're fun to sell. The biggest thing about them is don't get hosed on your shipping. So anyway, hopefully that helped. Show you what I got, latest finds in this space, and some ideas to think about, and, you know, to train your eye on how you might, you know, make profit, break them out, how you might sell them. So anyway, see cool, buy cool. Talk to you soon. Bye.